Dear Father in heaven, Yahshua at your right hand, thank you so very much for who you are. Grateful we are to be able to be here to give glory and honor and thanksgiving to you. I pray that you guide every thought, every word, that you assist in the giving of your thoughts and in the hearing, in the ears of those that listen. I thank you for your care. I ask for these things in your name, Yahshua. Amen. So God is in control of the past, the present, and the future. He always has been, is, and will be. Even the secular world understands this. They've been able to understand the smallest item that can be recognized is a particle. You start off with the atoms, and then you have the quarks and the neutrons and the electrons, but they've gotten it down to a particle now. It's amazing to understand God makes all things. Why? To have everlasting life. Thus, it's His desire. We can take a peek at John 3:16. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. So what's His desire for us? To have everlasting life. It's my purpose to reveal God's desire for us. It is up to us. That is, to reveal God's purpose for us. It is up to us. He says, make our calling and election sure. If we turn to Daniel 12:1, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, which as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time the people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. We think found written in the book. What is it? God's desire for us? When we can see that His desire for us is to be written in the book. In which book? The book of life. What a magnificent desire He has for us. All that He's done points to this. And our final outcome is for us to be written in that book. He says, make our calling and election sure. Now we are blessed. If we take a peek at Proverbs 10:22, the blessing of the Creator, it maketh rich, and He addeth no sorrow with it. What does this tell us? He is a blessing. He is our blessing. There is no sorrow. What He does to bless. Everything outside of that is not of Him. So if we go back and we think, God is in control. And how is He in control? Because He's in control of every particle. And if we understand, as even the secular world understands the particles, Everything is made up of particles. It's the secular world that doesn't understand it's God that made it, but they understand that if you make a particle, you have the ability to control the past, the present, and the future. How magnificent is that to have our Creator that's created everything, and He's in control of everything, and we know that He's in control of everything. Why? It's because He made everything. So every part of our life that we go through, He makes sure that we have every opportunity possible so that we can turn to Him and so that we can understand His plan of salvation, the theme of redemption. His desire for us is nothing but good. And with that, our final outcome is again our name in the book. Which book? The book of everlasting life. He says, make our calling and election sure. God's desire for us, it's up to us. Be transformed. If we go back, make our calling and election sure. It is up to us. If we look back at John, if we look at John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Believe in Him. When we believe in something, what do? We believe in Him, we put on His character. The most important work on the face of the earth today is building godly character. Putting on His character. And remember what that character is? It's a light. And who is it that we are? We're nothing other than a reflection of that light when we have His character. Remember the full moon? We are to be as illuminated as a full moon, reflecting His character. Putting on, reflecting His light, putting on His character, having everlasting life. This is what He wants us to have, everlasting life. Why? So we can have our name in the book. His desire for us is what? To have our name in the book. John 12:32. And if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. How powerful is that? When I hear that, it makes me think of the staff with the serpent on that Israel was to look at, to look up and to see Him. Not pay attention to what's going on around us, not pay attention to the ground, but to see Him. Our prophetess explains all other truths cluster around this truth. God will draw all men to Him. Make our calling sure. It is up to us. Genesis 3:15. This is where Eden was lost. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. What is this enmity? The enmity is this extreme hatred. What is the woman? The woman's the church. And when I think of the church, it's expressed to us the seed is a covenant-keeping people. When it speaks of bruising the head, it shall bruise his heel, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. What's it? The enmity, the extreme hatred. We've been given an opportunity to vindicate God's name. Why? To understand what sin produces. You know, at this point, Yeshua knew of the separation that had to take place. He knew at the very beginning he was going to be separated from the Father. Think of the extreme emotion, the sorrow that took place all throughout his life. Whenever there's a separation that takes place, we as human beings, if we're separated in a physical life from a relationship that represents what God has given to us, that represents his relationship not only with the church but with his Father, and we experience the grief and the sorrow, I can't even imagine what it would be like for him to experience that grief and that sorrow, being together with the Father for eternity. He experienced this. Why? So that we can understand he understands us. He knew he was going to die. And he also knew death is the cruelest thing that sin ever produced. He volunteered to die. He's our example. And are we going to likewise follow his example? Are we going to voluntarily think through what his life was like? All the way through from Genesis, the loss of the Garden of Eden, all the way to Revelation, to where he was in Gethsemane and Calvary. And can we contemplate the last moments of his life, the last few days and hours of his life? We're instructed to do that. Again, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. We must die to the world and to self. What an example he gives to us. God's desire for us is up to us. Blessings, name in the book, our name in the book of life, to be transformed, to put on his character, to be a reflection of his light, to have everlasting life as we go to the grave with him and then rise with him and claim that which was set aside for us, that was given to him, which was measureless power. Yeshua's desire for us is up to us.